25 है। एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भव निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सभं गुरु प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक हो से भी सच. My friend has gone to the big wide beyond, where he roams free, light of heart and shorn of pain. His laughter echoes all around as we hold on to the sound of that lilting melody. In the mortal world where he served his time, drawing comfort from his memories and solace from his friendship. Thank you everyone and good afternoon. I don't think in all the years of my friendship, comradeship, colleagueship with Devjit sir, either of us would have ever imagined that I would be standing here on a day like today. But life has its unexpected ways of throwing us into situations like this, which we hadn't ever bargained for. And yet, when we stand here today, there are so many memories and so much joy that Devjit sir left in our lives that we find enough cause to celebrate the wonderful human being that he was. Many of you over the last few days, while trying to grapple, like me, with the sudden void that he left behind, have shared beautiful memories in the form of photographs with Preeti and the family. We put together some of those photographs that remind us of the person he used to be, the laughing, larger-than-life Devjit sir we all knew and loved. So we'll begin with a small slideshow of those photographs. Deeply connects us after that summer so many years ago. And it isn't poetry, although it is poetry. And it isn't illness, although we have that in common. It isn't gratitude for every moment, even the terrifying ones, the physical pain, though we are halfway through it. Or even the way in which you describe the magnificence of being alive, catching a glimpse in the store window of your blowing hair, your chapped lips. Though it is beautiful, it is. But it is that you are my friend out here on the far reaches of what humans can find out about each other. Coda by Jason Schindler. Adya, Devjit's beloved daughter, someone who he was so proud of. He was so proud of how beautifully she writes. I remember the great pride with which he would share pieces that Adya would write. Today she's written something for her Baba, and I invite her to come. Yes, Ashi, this is from both of you.
I stood on a stage like this 7 years ago and spoke on my father's 50th birthday. He wanted me to do on his 60th too. Sorry Baba, लेकिन ये आपकी गलती है, मेरी नहीं है. Passionate, empathetic, loyal, creative and resilient. According to a very reliable source, the internet, I found out that these were the 5 qualities of a perfect person. My father, he had all of these, in bucket loads. But if there is one thing I will not call him, it is a perfect man. He would laugh at me. If anything, he was perfectly flawed. He was an early riser, but worst of all, he needed everyone awake when he was. The amount of arguments I've had just to not get up at 7 a.m. on holidays, too many to count. He needed more than 2 vegetables at meals in order to be satisfied. Any less, and he would either grumble or get up and make them himself. He hated me going for sleepovers or just parties, not because he was worried, but rather he didn't want me away for too long. Picking me up as soon as possible, which is also why I haven't had breakfast after a sleepover at anyone's place. His day was never a good one if he didn't make really, believe me, really bad dad jokes and tease me at least twice on something or the other. Every birthday, he threatened at least once to buy me undergarments as gifts. Every time. And yet, even when he was sick, I always had a gift that he put his love into finding. If there is one place where no one can fault my father, it's his big heart. Whether that meant he was loyal to his friends and his work, that he loved his family fiercely and would defend them so, or that he couldn't see anyone he didn't even know in pain. My father is genuinely the most intelligent person I will undoubtedly ever know, and even then, if someone did him wrong, he would let it go. Because that's just how he was as a person. Let's clear one thing up. It was not that he was naive. He just liked his peace and didn't like arguments. There There was also, of course, the small things that he did for us that seem very big now. He never ate food, however little, without me, even though I took hours in the washroom. He never ate food without dividing it for the rest of the family. He never let me or Ashi sleep without a good night. Even when I was crying, he never left me alone, despite me begging him to do so. The year in my 10th boards where I struggled the most, he went to the Gurdwara every Thursday for the entire year without fail. Sick or healthy, rain or fall, just to pray for me. Every night before an exam, if I was nervous, he would sneak some chocolate into my hand, pretending like it never happened. I remember when I got marks that I didn't want or didn't match my expectations, he would not scold me. Instead, he would take me out for a sandwich and some tea and tell me, "You can do better next time, that's okay." He always listened to me and made sure I knew my opinion mattered, especially in our household. But he was still more than all of that. He was my little sister's hero. And now reading out to you all a part of what she wrote. I loved him and will always. He fought with anyone for me, and he played Uno. Made sure that sometimes I deliberately won, just to make me happy. He made sure that my pass that I like was always full, sometimes 2 bottles in advance. We, me and Adya, were after all Baba's precious daughters. My father, a foodie that couldn't eat himself but fed other people because he got a joy in seeing other people eat. A man who worked even on days he was sick because, well, he didn't see any reason to see his family in pain. A man who cried watching children's audition videos because it warmed his heart. A man whose favourite movies were things like Home Alone, Baby's Day Out, because, well, they included children. A man who was incredibly humble, but boasted only when it came to his precious wife and 2 daughters. But most of all, my clingy jokester of a person, whose love for me was incomparable to anyone. My Baba. I'll miss you and I love you. Always and forever. Thank you.
Everyone who knew Devjit sir knew that his brother from another mother truly was Prabhakantji, his closest childhood friend, someone who's been an absolute rock and shared every joy and sorrow in Devjit sir's life. Prabhakantji, I'd like to invite you to say a few words, please.
नमस्कार। जिंदगी में यह दिन भी देखना पड़ेगा जो इसका जरा भी एहसास नहीं था। देवजीत से मेरी दोस्ती शायद 1976 से थी। मेरा एसोसिएशन देवजीत से दीदी और भैया को छोड़ के सभी लोगों के बीच में सबसे पुराना है। 1976 में I shifted to a new house and a new school called St. Louis School. Devjit too had shifted to the same school and in the same class, but not the same section. So शुरू में तो हमारी जान पहचान नहीं थी क्योंकि the place was new to me, school was new to me. But on and off I could see that there's a boy who is in my school. Slowly I realized that he is in my class also. And rainy season mein I felt sick and I was absent for quite some time. And when I joined back the school, our second quarterly exams were at hand. So during one exams, that was on Saturday, I think it was English paper. When I came out of the class, I saw Devjit. So I asked him, how's your maths? He said, it's fine. I need to refresh something. So I said, I need some help because I have missed so many classes. He said, no problem. I will come to your house. I have seen your house. My house was hardly 150 yards away from Devjit's house. So that was the first occasion we were together for quite some time. Throughout the day he was there with me and we prepared the exam. And both of us did very well in the exam. Thereafter we kept on meeting quite often. Next year in class 9 he came to my section. So our acquaintance became slightly more intense. One day I found that he was in the school in the morning, but he was not present in the class, and kept on looking for him. He didn't attend the class throughout the day. Next day morning again he was absent for the first 2 classes. Then I saw the principal coming with Devjit towards our class. I thought that he must have done something very, very seriously wrong. That's why principal is bringing him to the class. When principal brought him, I think it was Brother Pinto, he introduced Devjit to the class. He said, I want to tell you why he was absent on the previous day and why he was absent for the first 2 periods of today. He said that one of the students of the school had met an accident, who was not a Devjit's good friend, but only Devjit knew him. He met an accident and his parents were not in Ranchi. So Devjit attended him the entire previous day and the first 2 periods of that day till his parents came to the hospital. That news or that information made me, I developed a great deal of regard for Devjit, and my respect for him grew many folds that day onwards. From that day, we became rather close friends. There was another student in our class or in the same class who was also a very close neighbor to us. His name was Lith. And 3 of us, we grew together. 9th, 10th, 11th, every evening we used to spend at least 2 hours in the evening. We had a big ground in our locality with chairs, municipal chairs fixed on it. We used to sit on those chairs. We used to discuss mostly other subjects or school or sports. Devjit and Lalit, they were very fond of sports. Thereafter, we appeared in the board, and during the board exam, I met Devjit's father for the first time. He was such a caring father, I cannot tell you. He used to come with Devjit 9 a.m. in the shop at 9 a.m. and we used to remain in the school till 5, till our exam was over. During the lunch break, he used to bring tiffin for Devjit. He used to answer all his queries about the exam. And that was first and last occasion I met Chachaji. Thereafter, after the exam, we had 3 months, slack period. We thoroughly enjoyed those 3 months together. And during those 3 months, we must have seen at least 30 to 40 movies. In the locality, we were both looked after as an example for young girls, and also we are notorious for going to movies also. Everybody, even now in our mahalla, the old ones, very few of them are left. They remember us, oh, ये तिगड़ी का है, तो प्रभाकांत वो तिगड़ी है तुम्हारा, याद है ना? बोले यस, आई एम दैट प्रभाकांत. So after those 3 months, we took admission in +2, and Devjit had to go to Devghar for certain reasons. Next 2 years, we were in Ranchi, myself and Lalita, and Devjit was in Devghar. But he kept on coming to Ranchi every now and then. After 2 years, he came back to Ranchi to do his physics honors from St. Xavier's Ranchi. And I had joined engineering in BIT Misra. So again we were together. Next 3.5 years we were again together. Devjit was staying next to my house, and during exams he used to shift to my house because I had an independent room in my house. So he said that I will come to your room, I will stay in your room. I was in hostel, but Devjit used to stay in my room. Thereafter Devjit went to IIT Kanpur to do masters in physics, but he had to leave that course midway because his mother felt sick, and he had to come back to Ranchi to attend his mother. In the meantime, I had completed my engineering and I took up a job. Devjit went to Delhi to join law. After a year, I came to Delhi to do my masters, and we were together again, and we were preparing for civil services together. As the chance may be, I got through civil services. Before that, we joined our service together the same year. I joined in CPWD from engineering services, and Devjit joined Anand and Anand. Again, we were together. Thereafter, I got through civil services and went for training, and then I was posted in Ahmedabad. But I had every reason to come to Delhi because my would-be wife was in Delhi, then my wife was in Delhi, and Devjit was in Delhi. And Devjit's house was my refuge. I used to come, I used to stay with him. Devjit got married a year after me, and he used to come to Ahmedabad very often. I used to come to Delhi, though mostly we were together, though we were staying at two different places. I came to Delhi again in 2003 on transfer from Ahmedabad, and since then we are together. Since 2003, Devjit was not a friend to me. He was a family, he was a part of my life. I cannot imagine having any occasion, be it pleasant or sorrow, without Devjit. We could not celebrate a single occasion without inviting Devjit and his family to our house. And once, all of a sudden, he has left us. In 2010 onwards, Devjit had a tough time because he had kidney problem. Then he had to go for dialysis and then transplant. Every day was a challenge for him. But I have never seen such a jolly man and such a, जिसे कहते हैं, जीने का जज्बा जितना देवजित में था, शायद मैंने किसी में नहीं देखा. Most probably, he had a great sense of responsibility towards his family. क्या बोलूं मैं? One thing I want to say, being a Hindu, I believe in rebirth and coming to earth again. देवजित, तुम मुझे छोड़ गए हो, तुम्हें वहां भी मैं छोड़ने शांति से बैठने नहीं दूंगा. Just wait for me, I will also come. And if we have to come back to the earth again, my only wish is that भगवान मुझे फिर से केवल तुम्हें मेरा दोस्त बना के भेजे. तुम्हारे बिना दोबारा आने की इच्छा भी नहीं होगी मुझे अर्थ पे. इससे ज्यादा मैं कुछ बोलना नहीं चाहता. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you, Prabhakantji. There are so many messages that are pouring in for Devjit sir. Messages from across the border. Yavar Irfan Khan, who's been a friend and colleague for over 2 decades, requested that I read out a message from him. It says, Devjit, you left immensely deep values of friendship and brotherhood with us. Your sweet voice echoes in my ears, and I have high respect for your dearest departed soul, and I express my deepest regards and respect to the Gupta family. I would now like to call Devjit sir's, please.
प्रीति, आद्या, आशी, मैं एक चीज बोलना भूल गया. देवजीत was our family, he was our life. देवजीत के जाने के बाद भी you will remain our life, you will remain our family, and will find me every occasion.
Indeed. And everyone who was part of his family and his life knew of his love for adventure. I still remember with so much excitement, right, Adya, around his first SUV purchase when he bought the Scorpio, and all the adventures and the trips he planned, all those trips to Ranthambore. I still remember once his surgery was done the first time round, and he was more or less back on his feet. One of his greatest wishes at that point was that we should go on a holiday together. And we planned and planned and planned, and finally we decided that on this long weekend around Independence Day, we were going to go to Rishikesh. Grand plans happened, we all got into the car and drove off to Rishikesh, except the rain gods were not on our side. And there was a massive landslide that happened in the mountains, and a huge boulder came and fell on the path right in front of us, blocking our way literally in the last maybe, few kilometers to Glass House by the Ganges, which is where we were headed. And he was so determined that we were going to make that trip that I think we waited for about 5 to 6 hours on the road with great and totally misplaced faith that the government machinery would somehow miraculously come and remove that boulder from our path and our holiday would continue just a few hours late. Except that was not to be. And we ended up, we were very worried because we ended up having to stay in a not, suitable place from his health point of view. We had to just find some little inn by the roadside where we had to check in for the night, and we were all very concerned about his health and his safety and the hygiene of the place. But nobody could dampen his enthusiasm about the fact that a holiday was happening. And eventually, when he finally came to terms with the fact that every conceivable place was booked out for the Independence Day weekend, and we had no other place which could take us in, he ultimately ended up going to Dehradun, to Auntie's place that weekend, because he was just not going to come back home. And now I'd like to call his closest friend for 2 decades, over 2 decades, 25 years together, of course, 3 decades. Okay. Bini ma'am. She's written something for Devjit sir, and I'd like to call her to read what she wrote for her dearest friend.
So I don't want to be doing this. That's what I don't want to be doing this. Not just because I hate public speaking, but not for Devjit. He should have, prepared us. I just feel a bit upset with him right now. But hopefully as I speak, I met Devjit for the first time at the end of 1990. He was a year senior to me at Anand & Anand, and I saw this giant presence, a very reassuring presence. And what I've written is a commanding presence, like a shipmaster who knows everything. He knew all the nuts and bolts and, the operations and the systems. He really was in command. And that large personality, it just fitted that role. I saw him, I really looked up to him. There was no way of, not loving Devjit from the time that you just met him. He was so easy to get along with. And I think it's what everyone before me has said about his really warm and empathetic personality. It's very hard to find I think everyone would probably agree with that you once in a while come across a person with that kind of humanism, a magnetism which is so different from maybe of an extrovert. He was an introvert. At least in the public life he was an introvert, but I know from all the, what his friends and family have said about him, that he was quite gregarious, quite talkative too, but seemed very private when you were interacting in a public space with him. But a delight to know. I was guided by him so often. I relied on him so often, asking him this and that, and he was always there. That's something that stands out about Devjit. He was always there for you, come what may. I think by the time he got married to Preeti in 1995, if I got the year right, because last year was the 25th wedding anniversary, I think he considered me a part of the family, and he asked me, or he enrolled me to get a vanity kit for his bride-to-be. And he explained what it needed to contain. I had no idea, but he told me kumkum, bindis, the comb, and a mirror. And I did that with great pride, in the sense of, a responsibility that I was discharging. And then I'm sure there were so many incidents, though I can't remember everything, but there's one particular one which he never missed a chance to narrate, and retell that story to whoever was willing to hear. This was about over 20 years ago, when my maternal grandfather, my Nanaji, he got lost on a walk. He went missing, and a search party came together, and Devjit was right there in front. That the heroic person that he was right there, and that's an unforgettable, night. Devjit, along with the search party, went looking all over, somewhere behind Basant Vihar's, in their farms or wherever, and he spent a night on the hard floor of my grandparents' home, because we hadn't found my grandfather till then. The next morning he was back, so no worries there. He was safe and sound. My grandfather was safe and sound, but those are the kind of things that get stamped in your consciousness. You never forget what that person could do for anyone in need. And this was my extended family in a way, but that was Devjit. And I think Preeti is Devjit's perfect soulmate. I think she's the best thing that could have happened to him. He needed her, and she came into his life. And I believe that all of this family's life together, it has all the ingredients, all the material for a very, very inspirational book. And I hope that one day Preeti, together with, or Adya and Ashi or Adya, will write that book. And I'll wait to read that. So for all those who knew Devjit so well, they knew of his bravery, of his courage, in the face of everything that so many of us who have known him for the last at least 10 years, if not more, what he faced during this time. But his willpower is inspirational. And he had that really big smile, like Big Devjit. He had a big smile and a big heart and a bear hug. So that's a big hug too. Everything was so big about Devjit. And a huge generosity of spirit. And something that I think I tried to correct him on was his love for work, which I thought he needed to tone down a bit. But that's something he felt was, his lifeline, and his is something that gave him that objective to do something, to get up every day and to work on something and have that a mission completed, the sense of achievement that would come out of it, which is completely understandable. But at every moment I think I would tell him, slow down, just, it's okay, you can take a break. But if it gave him the joy it did, then I think I'm happy for that. And then he didn't miss a single day at work also, I remember. When he missed a day at work, that would be a cause for so much worry, but for everyone, it was unthinkable. And then his health had, there were some bouncers that faded through at him, but I know of the friends that he was blessed with, and I'm so thankful to them that they were there for him, I believe, much more than me. There's Prabhakant, who I learned so much about. It's passed from him just now. And Leela, and Sai, and Shvetashri, and Sanjeev, and Bharat, and I'm going to forget some names, and I do apologize for whoever's names I miss and who had a role and played a very meaningful role in Devjit's life. I just see the past 30 years and it seems such a blur. It was a very simple life that we started together. It's very, very connected, very light-hearted, lots of things to laugh about and enjoy. Devjit loved food. He really enjoyed food, and that was a joy to watch. And so Devjit he will remain for me one of my most consistent and steadfast friends. So while it has been difficult to come to terms with his passing, one is trying, and I'm thankful for Preeti and for Adya and Ashi, because I see in them so much strength and courage with which they have faced what Devjit endured, and they were, I think, the best family that Devjit could have. So we need to come to a macro understanding of this, that this was a soul. He took a human body, he assumed a human life. And he came here for a purpose. He chose this life. And even though it's very difficult to imagine someone choosing the experiences Devjit did in the last 10 years, but that's what the spiritual wisdom tells us, that this is something that he chose for himself in this lifetime. He completed his experience and then left. He came to learn some lessons according to the spiritual wisdom, but he also gave, I think, all of us so many lessons in love, in generosity, in large-heartedness, and I think that's how we remember Devjit. I have something that I picked up which struck me at this time. The time for us is memory and nostalgia, the pain of absence. But it isn't absence that causes sorrow. It is affection and love. Without affection, without love, such absences would cause us no pain. For this reason, even the pain caused by absence is, in the end, something good and even beautiful, because it feeds on that which gives meaning to life. This is The Order of Time by Carlo Rovelli. Thank you, everyone.
For some of Devjit sir's friends who couldn't be here, they've sent us some short video messages which we're going to play for you. Leela Vangala, Sai Krishna Rajgopal, and MS Bharat.
I was Devjit's colleague for maybe 3 years, but he was my dear buddy for 26 years. I first met him in Anand and Anand in 1994. Frankly, although we lived on separate continents for 23 out of those 26 years, I was Devjit's colleague for maybe 3 years, but he was my dear buddy for 26 years. I first met him in Anand and Anand in 1994. Frankly, although we lived on separate continents for 23 out of those 26 years, to this day, most people that know me know him. He was a warm, genuine, and selfless human being. I do not recall him bad-mouthing anybody, frustrated maybe, upset maybe, but never mad enough to wish bad for others. As a newbie in a law firm, I had many hurdles to cross, I had many lessons to learn, and there he was, my self-appointed mentor, teaching me the ropes, as he was to many before me and after me in that law firm. The foodie in him introduced me to dhoklas, parathas. The music lover in him introduced me to Bengali music, Hindi music. In fact, the only reason I have any pictures of my days in Delhi was because he so selflessly lent me his most expensive camera whenever I needed it. Above all, I dearly love him for introducing me to Preeti, his perfect partner, his soulmate, and now my best friend. Over the years, we hosted each other, and the last time our families met was in 2016 in Delhi when we went and stayed with him and Preeti. The attention he showed to every part of our stay there, and the love he showered on me and my family and my boys will forever stay with us. My family and I are forever blessed to have known such a gentle soul. He left this world a better place than he found it. We love you, Devjit. Rest in peace, my friend.
Namaskar. I still vividly remember the day I first met Devjit as a young intern in Anand and Anand. That was my 5th year in law school. The year was 1994. What struck me was that he was such a wonderful man, warm, friendly, and such a helpful mentor for all the lawyers in office. And when I joined Anand and Anand, formally in 1995, he became one of my first colleagues in the bar. In the 27 odd years that I've known Devjit, what has always stood out for me through all of life's ups and downs was his calm, gentle, warm demeanor, that ready smile, and the great love and affection he had for his family and friends. For me and Aparna, Devjit Sir and Preeti are one of our dearest friends, and that will never change. They for us truly exemplify and inspire rare courage, incredible grace, and a great strength of character. Devjit sir, you will live on in our hearts and memories. Devjit is only gone in person, but not in spirit. Preeti, you must know that you, Adya and Ashi are not alone. I will never be alone. We are all right here beside you, your extended family. And so will Devjit. Devjit sir, my friend, you will really be missed. Until we meet again. Rest in peace.
Hi Devjit sir. We are here to celebrate you and cherish all the wonderful memories, great values and principles you taught us. I still remember the first ever day in my professional life. I was to join Shamnad's team, and instead I was told that he never started a team, so I was invited by you to join your team for the first 3 days. And I would always remember you as my first official senior. And what a wonderful smile, large heart, brave, fighting valor you've all taught us in life and in work. The brilliant work-life balance, the ethics which you bring to the office, and integrity, we cherish. I remember every day as to how many discussions we've had on many aspects of life, and thank you for making me who I am. And we've had brilliant time, right from the trips to office trips to Rishikesh, to Goa, and APAs, INTAs, sharing of meals between meetings in office, the Friday meetings we used to have. It's all beautiful. Thank you for all the beautiful memories, and every minute I have spent with you, I have improved as a person, improved as a professional, improved as a father, improved as a human being. You've touched upon all of us with all your heart, and thanks for having us in your life. And wherever you are, I'm sure you're having a wonderful, peaceful journey. Thanks for sharing your life with us.
With Devjit and has known him in his later years, and would like to share a few words. Please.
Here we are all talking about Devjit. It's really sad to do this, at least do this activity. it is unbelievable that Devjit is no more. We really cannot believe this. We still feel he's there somewhere around us. When we visited last week, his house also, every moment I felt that he's somewhere sitting with us. And everybody had talked about Devjit. Everybody had talked about so many qualities. Indeed, there were so many things to learn from him. We learned together with him. We know Devjit for, I think, 24 years now. And every moment we spent, okay, I can't talk about professional things you people talked about, but we were friends, family friends. Every quality of Devjit you already talked. He was jovial. Somebody thought he was introvert, but we never found him introvert as friend. He used to like company, people's company. He used to be with us till 3 a.m. in the night awake. He used to tolerate all of us. In every evening we had spent together. And later part of the time when he got operated, he was not, still he never expressed anything. He kept on tolerating us and never talked about what problems he had. That is the positive attitude. So whenever I talk to my friends or somebody, and we talk about how to be happy, even if you have lots of problems. And I used to always quote Devjit. Yeah, I cannot say Devjit alone. Without Preeti, no Devjit. This is Devjit and Preeti together. Atya, Ashi, everybody. But that was a good example always for all of us. Whenever we look, we are in any problem. Yeah, look at Devjit. He never mentions about it. Everybody has a problem, but he never used to mention about it. He used to be same smiling Devjit. He used to enjoy everybody's company. He used to be helpful to people. Anybody used to ask for any help, he used to be in the forefront. I don't know. Later, he had a dream, basically, giving back to society. And he himself faced some problems. So he wanted to school for kids, special kids he wanted. It was his one of the project. Somehow I don't think some problem it could not materialize. But I think that is an unfulfilled dream he had. He was very straightforward. That was another thing. Today's time it is very tough to find a person. Everybody want to be very pleasing. So he was very pleasant. He used to sometimes kept mum. He never used to express if it is an unpleasant thing. But if he was forced to say, he used to be very straight and honest. What more? Yeah. We are talking again about Devjit. But I still feel he is somewhere with us. He will remain somewhere with us all the time, every time. Physically he must have gone, but by spirit he is with us. He will remain with us forever. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee. I'd like to call Mr. Tapush Gupta, who is Devjit sir's cousin. He's come from Calcutta. He'd like to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. Devjit, my younger brother, he has left us too, a couple of days back. In fact, though there is a big gap between Devjit and me as far as the age is concerned, but both of us were very good friends And uh, since childhood, both of us grown up in the same place. Though I was much senior to him, I know from the school days, his first day in school, he went and after coming to home, he thrown his all the bags and he shouted for food. As all of us talked, he was a very big foodie, so he was not able to tolerate the hunger span. And we used to play a lot, and there's a lot of mood tantrums. And one day he suddenly become the feet attack. In perhaps his age was 10 years, 9 years then, yeah, 9 years. Then for a couple of days we struggled to control his feet and all. Again he became all right and started playing and all. And gradually he started his school and all. And I was in college that time. My uncle was a very nice person. And Devjit has got all the characters of his father. As all of my predecessors talked about his character and all, that all he has inherited from his father. He was such a nice person. And Devjit was a really fighter in every aspect, as far as his career is concerned, family, health, everything. He was a great warrior. And all of us will miss him like anything. And really, I am very much indebted to his family, Preeti, Adda, Rashi, and my sister Soma. Reverend, I can't say anymore.
We would now like to present a musical tribute in the form of bhajans by a musical group called Sarang, which is led by Shri Sanjay Jha. Sanjay ji. Thank you.
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन 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 यमुना तीर बनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर करुणा सागर करुणा सागर मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर मुरली मनोहर करुणा सागर जय गोवर्धन हरि जय गोवर्धन हरि जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज बिहारी ओ पालनहारी निर्गुण न्यारे हो पालनहारे निर्गुण न्यारे पालनहारे निर्गुण न्यारे तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं हमरी उलझन सुलझाओ भगवन हमरी उलझन सुलझाओ भगवन तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं तुम्ही हमका तो संभाले तुम्ही हमरी रखवाले तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं चंदा में तुम्ही तो भर हो चांदनी सूरज में उजाला तुम्ही से चंदा में तुम्ही तो भर हो चांदनी सूरज में उजाला तुम्ही से ये गगन है मगन तुम्ही तो दिए हो सितारे भगवन ये जीवन तुम्ही न संवारोगे तो क्या कोई सवारे को पालनहारे निर्गुण न्यारे को पालनहारे निर्गुण न्यारे तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं जो सुनो तो कहे प्रभु जी हमारी है विनती दुख जन को धीरज तो हारे नहीं वो कभी दुख से तुम निर्बल को रक्षा दो रह पाए निर्बल सुख से भक्ति को शक्ति दो शक्ति को भक्ति दो जग के जो स्वामी हो इतनी तो अरज सुनो है पथ में अंधियारे दे दो वरदान में उजियारे निर्गुण न्यारे तो पालनहारे निर्गुण न्यारे तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं तुमरे बिन हमरा कौन नहीं ओ पालनहारे मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, माँ मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, माँ मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण। सारे राग विराग हुए अब, सारे राग विराग हुए अब, मोह सारे त्याग हुए सब, एक यही एक यही मेरा बंधन, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, माँ मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण। अविरत रहा भटकता हूँ मैं, अविरत रहा भटकता हूँ मैं, भटकूं और अभी मैं कब तक भटकूं और अभी मैं कब तक पालूं केवल तुझको ही माँ, पालूं केवल तुझको ही माँ, एक यही है मेरी लगन, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, माँ मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, माँ मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण, तेरी शरण, तेरी शरण। इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना, इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना, हम चले नेक रास्ते पे हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना, इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना। दूर अज्ञान के हो अंधेरे, तू हमें ज्ञान की रोशनी दे, दूर अज्ञान के हो अंधेरे, तू हमें ज्ञान की रोशनी दे, हर बुराई से बच के रहे हम, जितनी भी दे भली जिंदगी दे, बैर होना किसी का किसी से, भावना मन में बदले की होना, हम चले रस्ते पे हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल हो। इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना। हम न सोचे हमें क्या मिला है, हम ये सोचे किया क्या है अर्पण। हम न सोचे हम न सोचे हम न सोचे हमें क्या मिला है, हम ये सोचे किया क्या है अर्पण। फूल खुशियों के बांटे सभी को, सबका जीवन ही बन जाए मधुबन। अपनी करुणा का जल तो बहा कर दे पावन हर एक मन का कोना। हम चले रस्ते पे हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना। इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना। मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना, मन का विश्वास कमजोर श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। अच्युतं केशवं कृष्ण दामोदरम्, अच्युतं केशवं कृष्ण दामोदरं, रामनारायणं जानकी वल्लभं, रामनारायणं जानकी वल्लभम्। अच्युतं केशवं कृष्ण दामोदरं, रामनारायणं जानकी वल्लभम्। गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो, गोविंद बोलो हरि गोपाल बोलो। तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
संजय जी और उनके साथियों को बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. Thank you very much everyone for joining us together here today to celebrate Devjit's life. You have all been part of his journey, and it's fitting therefore that we bid him farewell together. We are the bridge across forever, arching above the sea, adventuring for our pleasure, living mysteries for the fun of it, choosing disasters, triumphs, challenges, impossible odds, testing ourselves over and over again, learning love, love and love. Devjit taught all of us love in so many different ways, and I think that is something that will stay with us every minute of our lives without him. And at Preeti's request, I'll close again with the Mool Mantra. Ek Onkar Satnam Karta Purakh Nirbhav Nirvair Akal Murath Ajuni Sebham Gur Prasad Jap Aad Sach Jugaad Sach Hai bhi Sach Nanak ho se bhi Sach.